Something you said a minute ago brought me back to the book. You said when you need to pay your bills, when you need money to do this. And I thought this was a really, really interesting portion of the book where you talked about the language. So you need to be very clear with what you want from money, asking for money. But if you're using it in such a way that you're creating need, hey, I've got these bills I need to pay, or this house I need to buy, or this lifestyle change I need to make, or whatever. The word need sort of becomes a deliverable for this energy of money, meaning I need to pay bills. Well, if I need money to pay bills, well, if you need money to pay bills, then money will provide the need for you to pay those bills. So
the need for bills, it provides more bills. It's so annoying, but that's exactly what happens.
Can you dive into that a little bit more? And this is, again, maybe skirting between the energy, I don't want to call it the spiritual aspect of money, but the energy or love for money versus maybe practical real world examples to kind of give a sense of it. Because I read that and a couple of other things in this book that it made so much sense because I've had those experiences. A big windfall of money that came in that I had said, if I had this, I would do that. And then I didn't do that. And somehow another need was created for that money. A furnace goes, an AC goes, right? Like a windfall of money that I decide not to leverage in the way that I said that I would, and instead harbor it. And then something else comes up that just takes that money right out of my account. So that was really, really grounding for me. Like, holy crap, that's happened to me. But can you get into that concept that money, when you need money or you have an energy of need for money, how it creates more need for you?
Yeah, this is one of the most fascinating things because what I've observed in my own life and with the so many clients that I've worked with is that money is like our money and the actual things that happen to us around money are like a map of our inner world. And so if you say, and the other thing I want to say is like, it's almost like this energy of money is literally able to listen to you and that it describes it in the book in a really cute way. It describes it like there's this great big bureaucracy in the sky and they're all kind of there to listen to everything that's going on inside you. And their job is to deliver all your wishes. So it's not just for cash and money, but it's actually all your wishes. It's kind of like a manifestation system, if you like. And it's really beautiful in the book and very sort of naive and simple. But I've come to see that it really is rather like that. So if, for example, you are literally thinking, oh my goodness, I can't pay my bills. I can't pay my bills. I can't pay my bills. What happens is you are manifesting, you're sending out into that money bureaucracy, let's say, or sending out into the universe or putting out a message of not being able to pay your bills. And anyone who's been in that situation will know how difficult it is to get out of it, because the more you struggle with money, the more you keep telling the story that I'm struggling with money. And it seems very counterintuitive to start to tell a story that's not struggling. But we do actually need to do that. That's what I've seen, because that's where the mindset starts to change. But this happens at every level. You can be very, very wealthy and you'll still be experiencing exactly the patterns that are kind of inside you. And what I find is important to look at, it's important to look at what you're thinking. So what you're thinking, I think of it always as like it's a direct instruction to life about what I'm wanting. My thoughts are my instructions to life. But it's not just your thoughts, it's also your feelings. So you can say, and I see this often with people, they say, oh, I'd really, really like to have a house on the ocean or a new car of a certain kind or something, maybe less material. But there's this heaviness and there's emotion around it, but I'm not good enough for that. Or things like that never happen to me. So you've got the wish there, which is quite straightforward. But the emotion is actually, it's like saying, well, don't deliver this to this person because that person's belief is that they're not good enough for it. And it's literally like the energy of money has to deliver directly according to whatever it is that your instructions are. It's rather like ordering something from Amazon. If you're ordering a T-shirt and you don't put the size or you don't pay the money, you don't get the T-shirt. You've got to tell what you want and you've got to do it. You've got to say what color you want. It's like if you don't put the color in, it's like the emotion piece isn't there. And then you don't get the T-shirt because they don't know which one to send you. So when you can be in a position where what you wish for lights you up, it's this heart opening moment, something that you would absolutely love to experience or love to have in your life. and you don't cloud it with heavy, negative, dulling emotion, but you actually allow yourself to live in the, yeah, that's going to happen. Or even just to forget about it. Just forget about it. There's a wish out there, something you'd love, but just don't think about it and be happy and enjoy yourself and have a good life. That seems to create the conditions for things to happen more fluidly for you. And so you don't have to fight so hard and you don't have to work so hard. And you become one of those people who say, oh, this thing happened. It seemed like a coincidence, or it was serendipity or synchronicity, whatever word you like to use. Those things tend to happen more when you have a lightness in your being, and the things that you wish for are not what your parents told you you ought to want, but what you really would love with your heart, with an open heart. That is a really simple thing.
The key to life, it isn't money, it's happiness. And when you measure how happy you are, you actually become even more happy. Our friends at GoBundance, the Tribe of Millionaires, use a very specific tool to measure their happiness. It's called the Life Happiness Index, and you can have it too. Go over to GoBundance.com/LHI and take your Life Happiness Index assessment. You'll rate yourself in multiple categories on exactly how happy you are and get a custom output for you specifically that you can use in developing whatever goals you have for your life. GoBundance is the tribe of healthy, wealthy, generous people who choose to live epic lives. And the tool GoBundance members use at the base of all of that is the Life Happiness Index. Get out there and grab life big. Yeah. Are there any strategies to get into that state? Are there some grounding strategies, some things people can do on a daily basis, habits or routines or whatever to get into that state? And let me qualify that question a little bit more. I think the cynic might say, okay, hey, look, if I'm not in an optimal mood, money doesn't come. So anytime I get out of this sort of serendipitous state, money doesn't come, which takes the whole thesis of the law of attraction and everything else and just tosses it out the window. I'm back in my rational brain. It's all woo-woo garbage, right?
Yeah,
but I think anybody would agree that you're right. When things seem to come into your life, you are in this state of flow. And it's funny, I'm having Stephen Kotler tomorrow. I'm interviewing him. He's written 6 books, New York Times bestsellers on flow, the science of flow. It's a real thing. It's scientific and it's spiritual. But that aside, the cynic might say that. So, all right, you want me to be in this heightened state that allows for money to come in. But if I break that energy, even just a little bit, it doesn't come in. And you can always point to that as why your strategy didn't work for me. So what are some things people can do that can get into that state?
The first thing I want to say is, look, you will get into that state. I get into that state. I still get into that state sometimes. That doesn't matter. What we tend to do is beat ourselves up for any negativity. And that's like double negativity now. And then you beat yourself up for that. And that's triple negativity. It doesn't work. So don't go down that road. It's like, it doesn't matter what you've done. It doesn't matter doing it wrong. It doesn't matter messing it up. Because in the West, anyway, most of us are making money anyhow. Money's already coming. You're already good enough. But what you're wanting is something more. So it's really important not to get hung up on that. You can torture yourself into the ground with that kind of thing. And I know that very well. And I know many people who know it very well. So the lightness is also in relation to you. It's actually being lighter with yourself. It's forgiving yourself very easily. It's saying, okay, I messed up. All right, learning experience, move on, have another go. And being able to do that very easily, which is really good business advice anyway. Anyone who's been in business for a while will know that how you deal with failure is one of the most important things. But in terms of practices, I think there are a couple of things that make the most difference for me. One is actually, this might sound a bit weird in a way, but reading my book actually really changes something inside you because it's so surprising and it's so different. So you don't feel like, oh, that's just the same as so-and-so said. And that's, it doesn't really feel like that. It actually has a direct effect on you. So it's a subtle education process about what money really is rather than what we've thought it is. And I can honestly say that it's more true than most of what we think. I'm not going to say this is the truth, the holy truth and the only truth, whatever, who knows, but it's closer for sure. So actually learning about money in a new way is a really important part of it. Otherwise, you're trying to kind of change your old attitude using your old attitude. That's really difficult. The other thing is relaxation. I've practiced relaxation every day for 35 years. All my clients always say, oh, I feel more relaxed about money, because I make them relax every day. When you relax every day, you feel more relaxed about money. That's kind of obvious. And you know what? When you're more relaxed, you're not worried, you're not stressed. Everything gets easier and lighter.
What is for relaxation specifically, what are you doing on a daily basis? I mean, there's so many different things. There's salt floats, there's meditation, there's massage, there's this, that, and the other. So as a daily practice, what are some of the things that you're doing? What are some of the things you've seen the most success with some of the clients you've worked with, or people you've worked with, or just people you've talked to and they've said, you know what? I mean, there's so many different things I know and it's individual, but just some tips on that. How do you get into a relaxed state daily? I want to know.
I was trained for 22 years with Chinese masters. So I teach it and I practice it. How do you do it? Well, one of the things that's really important to understand about relaxing is that it's not trying. Okay, so it's a kind of doing nothing. It's a kind of letting go. I'll often start I just go through my body. If I'm relaxing on my own, it's like I'm speaking. Actually, I think I'm speaking to energy. That's my language, or I think I'm talking to the universe. Doesn't really matter how you think, but I don't think I'm talking to myself. And I'm giving instructions. So I'm saying, please relax I always start with my lower belly, because if you've trained with Chinese masters, everything starts with the lower belly. That's their center of energy. So I say, please relax my lower belly. And I say, please relax my hips. Please relax my legs. Relax my knees. I just go through like that. And within 2 or 3 minutes, and I'm pretty sure that anyone who does this will find the same thing, my body starts to relax, literally. It's as simple as that. I can lead somebody for 2 or 3 minutes or 5 minutes, and they feel completely different after that. I'm just giving instructions to life. It's like I'm asking life to relax me. That's how I think of it. And funnily enough, when you ask life to do something, it does it. It's a really amazing thing. So what I do then, because I've trained so much, I start to think about, I start to allow myself to open up. I open up my mind, really important. So it's not kind of control freaking all the time. I open up my heart so that I feel more love for life, more enthusiasm. Sometimes I open up my soul, because that's meaningful for me. And then I allow myself to experience the flow of energy through me. So I become receptive, and I know that I'm receiving energy. Energy is the life force. It's the qi in the Chinese system, in qigong and all of those other kinds of things. It's what acupuncture works with. And qi, or energy, is something that flows through us that you can feel. It's not an imaginary thing. Once you get it, you can actually feel it. You can feel flow, you can feel tingling in you, you can feel a sense of inner peace. There are different ways of experiencing it, but it is an absolutely tangible experience. And when you start to feel that energy flow, your whole system relaxes. So you start by relaxing, and because you relax, you open up, and you receive more energy that relaxes you more. And then that opens you a little more, you receive more energy, and it relaxes you more. And you gradually become, we say, empty. Your mind just sort of is like, just kind of here, not busy, not occupied. Now, when you're working really hard, it's not easy to do this, but it's all the more important. And that's why I do it more or less every day as a practice, as a practice. Because when your mind is empty and your body's relaxed and your system, your whole energy is relaxed, then what happens is you receive what we say fresh life energy. That's actually, it's kind of like the coding of life. It's the coding, it's the instructions for things to happen to you. It's what makes good things happen to you. And when you're tense, you're all tight, you're really contracted, you don't get much of that fresh energy. You just don't. It's just, because everything's tense and tight, it can't flow. So when you're relaxed and expanded, it flows through you. When you're tight, it can't flow. And so you don't get much of it. And so you feel like, oh, I'm trying to live and I don't have enough energy to live. And then you work really hard, you get even more tense. And it's a sort of vicious cycle. It's like, oh, I don't have enough energy. And then you start to get into that, you start to not to be able to balance your energy, not to manage it. You head on the burnout path. But the opposite path to burning out is to learn how to open up, relax, receive, be nourished by this beautiful, fresh energy, fresh life energy. And what happens is you find your life gets easier. Things happen more easily. It's more enjoyable. It's more pleasant. It's more what you want and less of what you don't want. So relaxation is, to me, more fundamental than meditation, more fundamental than any kind of pumping yourself up. Because when you pump yourself up, I know it's a really common thing to do. It creates this tremendous pressure and excitement. And you can do it for a certain period of time, but it creates a lot of force. And the natural world, the real life, doesn't really work with force. So it tends to create a counter force against you. And then you have to struggle. When you can relax, you get into the flow of life. And then things happen in a more alive and a more natural way. And look, this is crazy making stuff for the mind, because the mind says, I can't possibly relax. I've got things to do. And people say to me, what am I supposed to do now, Sarah? Thank you very much. Nice lecture. I understand everything. What am I supposed to do now? I said, do nothing. No, I can't do nothing. I've got things to do. It's like, but actually try it. No, I can't. Just try it. Let's do it together. And it's like, oh, wow, I feel so good. Oh, everything's so easy. It's kind of just, it's really, really simple stuff.
Thanks for watching. If you want to see this entire episode, just click or tap here. If you want to see another clip from this channel, click or tap right here.